Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Reports Weekly Cyber Report, sponsored by Northrop Grumman. I'm your host, Vago Muradian. Joining us today is Philip Niedermeyer, the CEO of the National Cyber Group, who is also the Managing Director of Strategic Alliances for the law firm of Whiteford, Taylor, and Preston. He also chairs the Private Sector Committee at the Army Cyber Institute, one of his many, many jobs across the vast cyber ecosystem. Philip, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's an important topic we're going to be talking about, and you're doing great work for our industry, communicating to across the various realms of it, which is vital because we all sit in our deep and unpenetrable silos. At least they're unpenetrable except to the Chinese and the Iranians.
Excellent point. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind, as terrifying as that is, right? That's occasionally like you answer the phone and you just say ni hao ma, just in case the Chinese are listening. And I think we're all very, very comfortable with our friends at the NSA and GCHQ, but the other one is a little bit of a different thing. Anyway, we digress.
We do.
Philip, you're involved with an extraordinary group, almost at its inception, to sort of leverage this vast cyber workforce to use their additive manufacturing capabilities to produce everything from N95 masks to face shields to ventilator parts. This started about a month and change ago, and you guys now have a vast force. Talk to us a little bit about this maker program that you're involved with and the incredible work that tens of thousands, and in fact more than 100,000 people around the world are participating in that.
Yeah, what an opportunity to serve. As we all, unfortunately, had to shrink back to our homes and could no longer engage in socialization, and we came functioning into the new normal, I was approached by a dear friend of mine, Heather McMahon, who in her public life is the Senior Director of the President's Intelligence and Advisory Board. She's a dear friend, and she asked me to support a mission that Jonathan Roberts had begun through his R Prime charity out in Seattle. Jonathan's from the Microsoft ecosystem, where before he left Microsoft, he actually was the product launch manager for the old Windows program when it kicked off its day. So he's deeply embedded in the ecosystem out there and is the founding partner of Ignition Partners. So he had, by chance, gotten involved in a church effort to support the Seattle Children's Hospital. And a friend of his had spoken to him about the need for N95 masks at the Children's Hospital, and they didn't have enough. So they were going to organize a small effort in their church to do some 3D printing of them. And then it struck him that he could use his network to not only provide this mask that was going to be 3D printed locally there in Seattle at his church, but then put it online and create a technology hub. So he was thinking big. He reached out to some friends. I was included in that network, and we put together a global platform, which now currently our website, makermask.com. You can go to that website. You can see the mask that we currently have 3 weeks later, 3 weeks and some 4 days later after we launched the website. And that mask, since its initial design, has been through the fast track process at NIH and is now approved for general purpose use, which means in non-clinical settings, this meets NIH standards. And that means that policemen, firemen, emergency providers, and first responders of all types can use this mask and know that it's functioning well. It's reusable for up to 350 times, and the filter in it is replaceable. And we launched the website and went global off of 2 or 3 posts on LinkedIn by me, and Scott Adams kindly put a notice on his, the creator of Dilbert, put a notice on his Twitter account. And since then, our website activity has grown to over 700,000 page views. We've had 130,000 plus downloads of the CAD by individuals. And many of those individuals who've gone onto the website have chosen to join our Maker Network. And that Maker Network allows us to capture key information about them so that we can stay in touch with our makers. And We have also had approximately 130 countries around the world downloading the mask and manufacturing it at local level. That's the framework of it. And Jonathan Roberts and his team have done a great job. I played a small role, and Heather and I have beat the bushes to get attention for him and strategically supported his connectivity into the government and the intelligence community, focused around our cyber relationships and the Army and the Navy as well.
And you guys are also looking at making replacement ventilator components as well for high-wear items.
Yeah, so if you look at what the vision was, and this was the vision from the start, once we began talking about it 3-4 weeks ago, was that we're building this technology hub that will you'll not only be able to download 3D manufacturing items, but also potentially other items that can be manufactured in other ways as well. The key is to have the best design possible for whatever it is that you're trying to produce. We are also about to put up a face mask that will be printable in conjunction with some other parts. We're going to put up some parts for ventilators because we know certain parts of ventilators break more easily, and they'll be able to be 3D printable. And then we're also going to do some parts that will be injection molded, because we've had a call from the network that we've built for injection molding manufacture capability and the plans to do so. And it'll all be on one hub. Eventually, we'll transition makermask.com into makernetwork.com. We own that website too. And people will be able to download it all free of charge. It's a not-for-profit. We've self-funded the entire thing primarily through Jonathan's R Prime at the moment, which is his not-for-profit that he utilizes to support great missions.
And how scalable is this, right? I mean, there's basically no limit to how you can scale or the kind of partners you can bring in, from individuals all the way up to bigger companies.
Yeah, the beauty of this is that there are many hobbyists who have nice machines that do basic 3D production. But then there are innovation groups, there are incubator groups, there are various professional groups like AFCEA and so on, whose membership, many of them have gotten involved in 3D printing. And then there are companies. So all of these have access to our designs, and we're going to build up a library, a menu, if you like, of these different designs. And in some cases, we're going to allow them to sell them as long as they are not price gouging. We're going to adjust our license, and we're in the final stages of doing this because there are costs involved in 3D printing. And it's nice to donate things to the local fire station, which can be done. But if someone wants to buy 100 masks or 100 of another item they're manufacturing, we don't have any issue with them selling that product for a small, reasonable profit. And so we are creating also a separate licensing agreement for that eventuality. We will remain a not-for-profit.
Let me take you to the question of security, right? Anytime that you're creating such a distributed organization, there is an opportunity, let's put it mildly, like mischief, but something even graver, right? A slight alteration in the design could render it, for example, ineffective. How are you guys maintaining cyber security across the entire piece of what you're trying to do?
So let me be clear. First of all elements that we focus on are GDPR compliant. All data is encrypted, both at rest and in motion. And the website and platforms have received a full and comprehensive cyber security review from, I assure you, some of my very best friends. And they assured me.
That was very well said, by the way.
They assured me that we passed with flying colors. So we're very pleased to be able to report that although you could have some enormous mischief with these designs, and I'm pleased to say we put in the appropriate protection to ensure that evildoers would not have access to it.
Let me ask you,
or mischief makers, who are really sometimes a bigger problem than
that's right. I mean, I tried to say this because some of it is not really malicious, but it is, right, one person's fun is another person's headache, sadly. Let me ask you one last question, and that's how this force, alliance group could be used in a future emergency or even a future national security emergency to do things that the regular industrial base might not be able to do, or might not be able, that you might be able to do bigger, quicker, because you said you're building this database of people to be able to use them for the
Yeah,
future. What are you learning
absolutely.
now, and how can you harness this group for future needs?
So, firstly, we are building an alliance of partners. Many innovation groups, universities, literally dozens of them, are working in collaboration with us. We've also had the contacts with various groups within the Intel and our Army and Navy and so on. I'm not going to get into the specifics of that because they're all in early discussions. I mean, it's only been 4 weeks since we began the process, and obviously those type of relationships take a little bit more to develop. We believe that they can be framed out and built upon. And if you look at the challenges we face, both from a financial and just a distribution standpoint, to be able to have all of these points of manufacture distributed in local communities throughout our nation and in strategic places for our allies, it'll be a tremendous benefit. And we will provide the manufacturing capabilities of key things, perhaps down the road. One of the things I would like to do is create a water filtration unit so that people can manufacture water filtration units for themselves throughout the world. We don't need that here, but it's desperately needed in the third world.
I mean, that's such a brilliant idea, because at the end of the day, we want to ship water, which is very heavy and very difficult to do, as opposed to you would be able to distribute 100 smaller filtration units for the weight of a pallet of water. And the pallet of water is finite and has to be replenished, whereas any one of those filtration units can be used repeatedly over a much longer period of time.
Yeah. One of the things I want to touch on, and we talked about in the preamble that it wasn't recorded, is the fact that we've also created this amazing data platform. So we've created a data platform, which in essence is a national data-driven common operating platform. So we went out in order to manage the siting and the locations of all of the different makers that we were going to have. We built a data-driven common operating platform, enabling us to make agile decision-making at all levels. We built it on a real estate platform that Navigator CRE runs, and we call it Viral Insights. And people can go to viralinsights.ia, and they can take a look at this platform that we built. And currently what we're able to do is look down at the data, add into the data, the COVID data from Johns Hopkins and the various other public resources that are available. And literally we're able to model a predictive modeling to be able to forecast where these viral outbreaks are going to happen. So as a subset to creating MakerMask, the data management system we built for MakerMask has all of these other capabilities. And we're literally in discussions now at the highest level in the government to share this with them for free at no charge, helping to structure potentially a plan for reopening the nation down to the zip code level, because that's what this is. Adding the NACS codes and the SIC codes at the zip code level, and combining that with the demographic data and the sad COVID data that's available from Hopkins. It's a fabulous thing, and people should look at that too. So we've been pretty busy these last 4 weeks, and working with Jonathan and his team are just great group of folks.
Philip, extraordinary job. All the best to you, your team, yours. Hope you guys stay well, stay safe, and also keep wishing you success with this. And we look forward to doing our best to try to help you get the word out. Absolutely incredible job you guys are doing.
Thank you very much. Please go to makermask.com, learn about our mission, understand our message, and please help us with our methods. Share great ideas, be open sourced, and continue the great innovative spirit of America to continue this being the greatest country on earth.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
And thanks for joining us this week. Please follow our daily interviews with top government, military, industry, and thought leaders at Defense and Aerospace Report, and subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Follow us on Twitter at DefAero Report. That's at DEFAERO Report. Like us on Facebook at Defense and Aerospace Report. And check us out on LinkedIn. Look for our weekly cyber report sponsored by Northrop Grumman. For more than 80 years, Bell has pushed past the boundaries of what's possible to drive aviation forward, going above and beyond flight, bellflight.com. Thanks again to Bell for their generous sponsorship, and we'll see you again tomorrow.